life will never be the same. Cause girl, you came and changed the way I walk, the way I talk. I cannot explain.
Hi everybody, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode with Carrot Spice. Today we'll be talking about macros, specifically what is a macro and to understand how to read a food label. I got this question, exactly what is a macro, on my Instagram Q&A, and I decided to just go ahead and follow up with a video. I'm literally in my classroom. I am sharing my dirty whiteboard with you, so I hope you guys are not offended, but I'm still on the job. I just came from a faculty meeting, so I hope I do a good job of explaining what a macro is, because a few of you have actually asked me, and I wanted to go ahead and just share that with you. I will make a second video about calculating macros, hopefully not too far in the future, but at this time I'm really tired. I do need to get my classroom set up for yet another day, and it's already after 4 and I have an hour's commute. So in a nutshell, a macro, the word macro itself is a shortened form for macronutrient, which is a molecule that provides energy in the form of calories. So a nutrient is a substance that provides some sort of benefit. There are macronutrients and there are micronutrients. Your micronutrients are your elements that you need in a trace amounts, like your sodium, for example. And your macronutrients, your energy providing molecules, are your carbs, your protein, and your fats. So the primary objective of this video is to simply define what a macro is. I want to talk about a little bit about calories, just a little bit, and also nutritional value with regards to food labels and why it's important to read food labels. So I'm not here to impose on you, what you should eat, what you should not eat. But if you are looking at like a weight gain, or you're trying to lose weight, hopefully this information is helpful and at least provide some sort of guidance in how you want to go about doing that. Guys, I'm just gonna put it out there that I'm not an expert. Everything that I share on my channel is basically the things that I have personally gone through. I just came from a bulking program just a few months ago. I'm currently maintaining, and I think I'm going to start cutting towards the end of October of this year. So I just wanted to say that I'm not an expert, but everything that I share is really based on my experience, and I'm not here to impose my personal choices onto anyone. I'm just sharing information. So that's what your macros are. Basically your carbs, carbohydrates, and your carbs are it's a broad category for your sugars and your carbs. Your sugars and your starch. And there's also your protein and your fats. So your carbs are essentially the first source of energy. When your body needs energy, that is the first place it's gonna go. Now, there is no set formula for how much energy your body will need. That is not a constant, okay? Your body is always fine-tuning your carbs, your protein, and your fats with regards to how much energy it needs at any time, okay? It's a continuous process. Because obviously there are times when your energy is going to be okay, and then there are times when you're going to have low energy. Like right now, after teaching for an entire day, I had a faculty meeting and I'm standing here trying to explain this to you. My energy is kind of low. So anyways, your carbs are also stored as glycogen in your liver and in your muscle. And a question that people always ask is, how much of these things do you really need? I do not have a fixed amount, but I would say that your requirement, your specific, your personalized requirement is really that. It's based on your particular needs. But I like looking at my numbers with regards to, well, in relation to lean body mass. So that would be, your lean body mass would be your total weight minus your body fat. And to me, it's just kind of like a good reference. So for carbs, a good range would be about 0.5 to 2 grams per pound. For your protein, a good average is 1 gram of protein to a pound of your fats would be 0.4 to 0.7 per pound. Some good source, well, a good source of your carbs would be, well, for me, I consumed a lot of, starchy foods, so like sweet potatoes. That was like a huge thing for me. Pasta was another thing. I'm gonna make a separate video because there are a lot of videos out there that claim carbs that are your enemy, and they're really not. And so for your protein is your macronutrient that would help build your muscles. So it helps to build muscle, it helps to repair and reserve muscle, especially if you are on a calorie deficit. For example, the people who are on a cut, one of the worst things that can happen is for them to lose muscle mass and protein. That is something that I have to be careful with when I start to cut. So when I do get to that point, I'll be sharing my macros for cutting and exactly how I'm going to do that. But for the most part, your protein is what you always want to keep in a high amount, even though people can argue that. But you want to do that in order to not lose your muscle mass. And some good sources would be your like fish, meat, eggs, for example. You can also consume legumes, nuts. The thing about legumes and nuts, especially the nuts, like almonds, they provide more fats than they do protein. Almonds, I think, provide about 73% fat, and the remaining percentage is protein. So not really high, like there is protein, but not as high as fat. Now, this is not saying, I'm not saying that you do not want to consume almonds, for example. Of course, it's a great source for the healthy kind of fats that you need. But the point of this is, there are foods out there that are higher in protein content as opposed to other foods. So when you're shopping, you probably want to make sure you look at your food labels and so. But for the most part, meat, fish, eggs, and there are other foods out there that would be high in protein. And fats, you need fat to absorb vitamins in your body, to regulate hormones, to aid with brain function. You really do need fats. So I don't think it's very wise to be on a no fat, like strictly no fat diet, or any of these macronutrients. Rather, it's just a matter of regulating and figuring out, depending on your goals, what should be high and what should be low. But I don't think, for me, I don't think it's wise to cut anything out completely. And it's probably going to be virtually impossible. So your macronutrients, remember, they are your energy providing molecules. There are 3 macronutrients: your carbohydrates, that would be broken down into sugars and starch. And then there's your protein, and the building blocks of your protein would be your amino acids. Oh, protein shakes are also a very good source. I know sometimes I'm going to be honest, I'm not very dedicated with my protein shakes. I'm really not a shake type of person, but when I do buy protein shakes, or protein powder, sorry, I do get one that has probably 0 sugar. So Isopure, no product placement, but Isopure has been a good choice for me. So you want to probably get a protein powder to amp up your protein intake. And then the other category would be your fats, and your fats, that's important for vitamin absorption, regulating your hormone and brain function and so on. So that is for that in a nutshell. And your micronutrients, on the other hand, or the elements and substances that you need in a small amount, such as your sodium. Like when you look at your food labels, you see sodium, and people freak out over sodium because, and I think it matters, because if you're hypertensive, you certainly want to regulate your sodium, okay? So the micronutrients do not provide calories. You only get your energy sources from macros. So that is what a macro is. So what I want to do now is to go to my desk and show you a few examples of food labels, and I want to show you how this ties in to food labels, and hopefully you can understand how to read food labels a little bit better. Okay, now actually before I go to my desk to go through the food labels with you, and in order to understand that, you do need to know that 1 gram of carbs is equal to 4 calories, okay, and 1 gram of protein is equal to 4 calories as well, and 1 gram of fat is equal to 9 calories. And that will help you understand the food labels a little bit more. And when I get to my second video, I'm contemplating recording this later on today, if not today, really soon. This will actually help you with calculating your macros. All right, guys? I'm now positioned to help you out a little bit with the food labels, but I had to go scouting during lunch while on the job, and I was lucky enough to find some empty boxes. I had to ask someone for their box, and so I have some lean cuisine here. Okay, so we'll look at the food label on this one. There is also Smart Ones, and I also a teacher had to chug their drink down and gave me this can. This will work. This will do. All right, so really quick, let me just kind of zoom in here. This should be good enough. Okay. So remember, 1 gram of protein yields 4 calories, and 1 gram of carbs yields 4 calories, and 1 gram of fat yields 9 calories. And you know what I want to do here is to show you the relationship between macronutrients and your calories. So as you can see on the label, like right here, let me use the other tip of my Sharpie. So your protein, right? We have 18 grams of protein. So that is 18, that's going to be 18 times 4, and that will give you 72, because we're going to go grams times the amount of calories. So that's 18 times 4, all right, and that's 72. Then for your carbs, and we're going to do total carbs, we want to do 38 grams times 4, and that's going to give you 152. And for your fats, all right, we're going to do total fats as well. Okay, your total fats here would be 7 grams. Let me see if I can move the camera. 7 grams. So that's going to be 7 times 9. Okay, because remember, we have 9 calories per gram of fat. That's 63. So in this meal, we'll have a total of, okay, if you add up the 72, the 152, and the 63, we'll have a total of 287 calories. Okay? Now, when counting macros, guys, you know, foods with nutritional labels are easy. You know, just take the box or the packaging, ignore everything else, and just look at your macros. Just look at the carbs, the fats, and the protein to see what you're really consuming. Also be careful with, you know, serving size per container or per package. Some foods, like this one, for example, has, you know, which makes this easier. This is the serving size here is 1 serving per container. Okay. Some of the things you might see on the food label are things like your saturated fats. So right here, this has 2.5 grams of saturated fat. And do not include that either. As a matter of fact, your saturated fats along with your unsaturated fats, which includes your trans fats, make up the total fat column. Okay, so there's no need to count saturated fats specifically. I wouldn't stress about well, I don't want to say stress about, but you do not count cholesterol either. Of course, there are two types of cholesterol, and I really don't want to get into that right now, but with regards to macros, you should not count it. Sodium, that is something I personally pay attention to. I am not hypertensive at all. I'm very picky with just the amount of sodium in my food. And it doesn't affect your macros, of course, but if, for example, you're hypertensive, if you have high blood pressure or any sort of relevant disease with regards to, the fact that sodium might affect how your body reacts to that situation, I would just be careful, okay? You do not include dietary fibers either. This right here has 5 grams of dietary fibers. You just count your carbs. You just really need to count your carbohydrates. But with that said, it is important to get adequate fiber in your diet, of course. That just helps with your digestion. It helps with bowel movement. So, of course, be sure to include plenty of fibrous veggies and fruits in your daily meals. And sugar, here, this package had 7 grams of sugar. Don't count that either. And I'm not even going to get on the sugar debate, but for me, I really do not have a sweet tooth, and just kind of regulate things based on your needs and just kind of common sense. Make sure you just have a balanced diet. So let's see here. So there's always this little note at the bottom right here that states recommended daily intake of each nutrient is based on a 2,000 calorie diet. And that will vary based on your specific needs. Like when I was bulking, I was getting way over 2,000. And of course, when I'm cutting, that figure will change once again. Alright guys, so I had to use the other side of my board, but I hope the information helped, even though just a little bit. I'll be happy with that. In all honesty, there are a lot of foods out there without a nutrition label, okay? In that case, I do not have a fast fix. The only thing that I can tell you is to check out MyFitnessPal. I have an account with MyFitnessPal. It was very helpful. I actually joined MyFitnessPal to be a part of to have access to the database with regards to the nutrition content of foods. Because I encountered a lot of foods without a nutrition label. So, and it's a very good database. So I highly recommend MyFitnessPal if you're looking for a database for foods without labels, because there are tons of foods out there without labels, believe it or not. Another question is, should you weigh your food raw or should it be cooked? I prefer raw, and I think it's recommended that you do raw simply because when you cook foods, you add weight to the food regardless. Like one tip that I'll offer you is to get a food scale. Having a food scale in your house is not proof that you're obsessive, okay? That has nothing to do with being obsessive. I hear that a lot too. I have people who laugh at the fact that I have a food scale. So, but if you are new to health and fitness, you're really trying to remain committed, you're very new to counting macros, and you're learning, and you're just trying to remain dedicated, and also to avoid human error, because face it, humans are terrible at getting things right sometimes, and you think you're measuring things by hand, you're probably getting more calories than you need. Get a food scale, because a food scale helps you to eliminate error. It keeps you on track, especially if you're new to counting macros, and you would be surprised as to how closer you'll get to your weight loss goal. For example, in my case, it was my weight gain. I actually bought a scale because there was a time I plateaued, my weight just plateaued, and getting a scale really helped me. I'm still using my scale up to this day. I'll link it somewhere in the video so you can see my unboxing. I still love my scale and I recommend it. Restaurants, like if you go out like on the weekends and you're trying to really keep up with your goals, I know people do fall short on the weekends, especially when they go hang out with friends. Many restaurants are now including nutritional values or calorie counts at least on their menus. So, and do not be afraid to ask. Somewhere in their little, in the kitchen somewhere, they do have that information. I've done it before. Again, it's not obsessive, but it just helps you to be, disciplined, and it helps you to kind of, be serious about your goals. And I'm gonna leave you with this. Now, I know people are probably gonna think, why not just count your calories as opposed to counting your macros? Really and truly, yes, you can lose weight, and you will lose weight if you are in a calorie deficit. You can simply cut your calories down and you will lose your weight. But I honestly believe in quality. The last thing that you would need probably is to lose weight, but also lose muscle mass, because you're not retaining or gaining enough protein in your diet. So you can cut calories, but if you're cutting calories, you can also unknowingly cut your nutrition, and you do not want to cut and lose muscle, especially for bodybuilders or athletes, like figure athletes, for example. So yeah, if you're in a calorie deficit, you are going to lose weight, but do you want to just lose weight, or do you still want to retain that toned, athletic, healthy physique that I'm sure you desire? Well, if that's the case, you definitely want to learn how to count your macros. It's really not hard. If I did it, so can you. And it's kind of fun when you get a hang of it. So I am about to leave. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you are a new subscriber, thank you so much for supporting my channel. I'll definitely be back with my numbers and to share with you how I calculated my macros to gain the weight that I did. So until next time, bye.